Hello wonderful friends, and welcome back to another week on my channel. I've got something really exciting to share with you, and that is I'll be starting a brand new mini series on this channel where we will be dissecting a bunch of fun, challenging boulders that I have encountered in my climbing journey. You guys seem to really enjoy the comp boulder breakdowns that I did a few weeks ago, and it was honestly so fun to make, so I thought why not make it into a series. I will be putting the magnifying glass onto a specific climb that I found particularly challenging or really interesting, and we will be breaking the beta down and breaking down the climb itself, which will be super fun. Let's get right into the first boulder of the series, which I found at Blockhouse Marrickville, which by the way is the same place that I created my first ever YouTube video about climbing, so if you haven't seen it, check it out right here. Anyways, let's get right into it. This week I found one at Blockhouse Marrickville. The grade is a purple grade, which is a V2 to V4 range. The style of the climb is dynamic, which means the skills needed would be to commit and to trust yourself. Firstly, let's start by breaking the climb down. As you can see, the problem itself sits with its bottom half on a vertical wall divided by the middle line, which starts becoming slightly inclined after that. The holds involved are also pretty straightforward and pleasant, mostly juggy hand holds all the way with features for footholds. Sadly, standing on features is definitely not my forte, so that is probably where I'll be struggling the most. First impressions indicate a pretty straightforward solution. Get to that jug on the left and then you're good to go. Pretty easy, right? At least I first thought so. Until I got up there to instantly realize that I could not get to that left jug so easily. The tricky part is that your right side is completely anchored by the good hand and footholds, whereas the left side has a bad foot, so it's scarier to put pressure and step off that bad foot. With an off-balance center of gravity created by these holds, I was not able to move very far within my reach to go statically, but I tried it anyway. I did this static beta by pushing my right foot and keeping my left foot as high as possible so I could reach as far as possible, but that was still pretty out of my reach. I'd probably say like a 20 centimeter difference between me and the next hold. The features were also not good to stand on, so I didn't really trust my foot to jump off that as well. After determining that I had to go dynamically, I was faced with my next struggle, which was to commit. Here we go for attempt number 2. I'd like to point your attention to my arms, which can be seen in a locked and bent formation. Although this position kept me close to the wall, it also managed to restrict the range of motion and therefore momentum generated for me to spring off. I was also struggling with the idea of going with so much power in fear that my foot would slip off, despite knowing that weighting the foot is a best option based on previous advice. Anyway, my bent arms not only restricted the amount of power released when I let go, but also didn't help my poor left foot, which ended up on the wrong side of the feature without enough power, only for me to fall back down. In fact, looking at the angle of my foot, in these initial attempts, there was no way I could push my weight over to the other side since my foot was already slanting backwards on the feature. I definitely needed to have so much power on my foot to rock over that feature, so that's what I did next. I focused on trying to commit a little bit more every time, and the more I tried it, the further away it felt because I wasn't really recognizing just how much I needed to commit. As you can see, the outcome for each attempt was pretty random, just a series of me hoping that I would hit the left hand hold. So let's take a quick break from my attempt and have a look at a successful send demonstrated by Alex. Alex, who had previously completed this climb mostly statically, decided to try it out dynamically after seeing my struggles. So thank you, Alex, for being very patient with me on this one. And as you can see here, you can immediately tell by the amount he is swinging that he is very, very committed. Although he is taller than me and has longer arms, he is also clearly committing more. He's using his whole body to swing when winding up for the dyno and having his foot go into the wall rather than trying to step on the feature. The power is from his whole upper body and he is pushing his hips into the wall, so when he does let go, he has enough power to reach and grab the left jug. And there he goes. Bingo. The rest of his attempt was a breeze, which then really inspired me to try just one more time. And so I did. Inspired by his commitment, I channeled the same amount of power And although you can't really tell a difference, I did what I did and swung as hard as I could into the wall. And that did the trick. So let's reverse a sec and look at that tiny little hop that I had to do in the process. Well, it's not actually a hop because my foot never left the feature, but I sure didn't have very much to step on.
Let's go, guys. Come on. Oh my god! Oh my god! Nice! Oh shit! That was pretty incredible.
Just goes to show how important committing on dynos is, especially if reach is a bit of an issue. The solution to this problem is essentially the same no matter how tall you are or how far you can reach. The only issue is if you are shorter, you just have to commit a lot more, and that can be pretty scary. This climb was super cool. I really liked it because it was a challenge that I almost gave up on. Then I realized the exact same thing that happens to me every time I get scared on a climb, and it is just to commit and believe in yourself. Hopefully this acts as a beacon for future me to keep trying these dynos even if they seem very reachy, because they're probably achievable. Well, that was the boulder of this week. I hope that you enjoyed. Let me know what you thought about the first boulder. Can you relate to the fact that dynos are, a bit terrifying? Hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you next week. Bye!
It's just the drum blows, yeah. Walk around like who you